My Porsche is back on the channel. It's been more than a month since I've had my 911 on, and I'm going to use it to test out my new SPARQ Diagnostic tool. There is an existing problem that's been going on for quite a while, and I want to try to use this tool to eliminate some of the possible causes. But before I dive into that, I got something new that will benefit the channel. One of the things that I got that I think will help improve this channel is getting a new mic. I went with the DJI mini mic because I heard a lot of good reviews about it, so this will be the first episode that I'm using it. In the past, sometimes my voice would cut off, or the built-in mic on my phone will struggle with trying to follow the sound, whether it's from me or my car or surrounding areas. So I think that having this mic will definitely benefit the channel moving forward. There are some instances where I won't be using the mic, but for the most part, I'll be using quite a bit on this channel. The DJI Mic Mini comes with quite a few components, and of them, the two main ones are the receiver and the mic, which will eliminate the need for Bluetooth, so the connection is going to be very steady and clear. Next, I have the adapter which connects my receiver to my phone, and it also comes with a cable that is split into two, so I could charge both my mic and my receiver at the same time. And last but not least is the wind deflectors. It comes with two. I haven't tested any of them out yet, but I heard the one that's black and white is the best of the two. One of the things I want to test out with my mic is how my car sounds on a cold start. So I'm going to set up my mic closer to my 911 and then do my M5 afterwards. On the last episode, I mentioned that I'll be focusing a little bit more on my 911. For the most part, the last few episodes was mainly focused on my M5. So I want to bring the 911 back to the channel. And what I want to test out on my 911 is a new diagnostic tool that I've had for quite a while now. I'm pretty sure it's a brand that you've either seen or heard about before. In past episodes, my SPARQ Diagnostic tool was camped out in the back over here. And what I'm going to do now is unwrap it and check out the contents inside. Now that I have it out of the box, what I'm going to do on this episode is compare the results of the diagnostic tool between the SPARQ, the small diagnostic unit I have from Harbor Freight, and then I'm also going to throw in my Autel. And what I want to find out with how effective this SPARQ tool is to compare the results within the three different units. Before I test out this new SPARQ tool, I want to provide a brief history on this problem. I used both my diagnostic tools to troubleshoot the problem, and on episode 77 is when I started that project. All fingers pointed to my tank leak diagnosis module, which on my 911 is my DMTL pump. So I located it, replaced it, And while I was replacing it, I also decided to replace the gas cap because it's a big part of my evap system. After I cleared the codes, it came back after about 3 weeks. So on episode 83, I revisited the problem. The purge valve is also a part of my evap system, so I decided to replace it with an OEM unit, replace also the hose, and installed it. Once I cleared the code, about another 3 weeks later, the code came back. These are the 3 diagnostic tools I'll be testing out. The first one I'm going to start off with is the code reader from Harbor Freight. Afterwards, I'm going to move on to the Autel and see the results to compare. And last but not least, I'll be testing out the SPARQ Diagnostic tool. On the 911, the OBD2 port is right underneath the steering wheel. So I'm going to connect the code reader from the Harbor Freight first and run the test. Now that my code reader is connected, I'm going to turn my key to the on position. And then on the code reader, I'm going to click enter so it could connect with my car and start scanning. It'll take just a few seconds and display the results. So here it shows 1 code found. Let me try and focus my, there you go. So I'm going to scroll down to read codes, press enter, and then there's 2 codes. I believe they're the same thing, P1486. So if I toggle down, it's going to give me the same results. So I'm going to keep this in mind, and I'm going to exit for now, and then switch over to the Autel. I just connected the Autel to my 911, so I'm going to do the same procedure. Turn the key so that my Autel can connect to my car. I'm just going to go to diagnostics here, and then I'm going to connect my car directly. Do it one more time. Do auto detect. And now it's scanning. It's going to ask me to verify some of the information from my car. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And then I'm going to run a diagnosis and click on auto scan. So I'm going to give it a few minutes so that it can scan my car, and then I'll come back and show you the results. I fast forwarded the syncing because it took a while, but now that it's done, you can see that the car did a full scan and everything is good except the DME up here. There's a fault over here, so I'm going to get the details of that fault. And then I want to read the codes, and then that matches exactly what's on the code reader from Harbor Freight. The good thing about this is if the Harbor Freight doesn't pick up what the code is, it will tell us on the Autel. So this is where I found out that it's my tank leak diagnosis module. So this matches up with the Harbor Freight tool. Now what I'm going to do is disconnect this one and test out the SPARQ Diagnostic tool. I moved my Harbor Freight code reader and my Autel out of the way, so it gives me more space in this area. This component just consists of the OBD2 module, so I'm going to take it out of the box and connect it to the bottom just like the other diagnostic tools. Now that I have it out, I'm just going to connect it down here. I just do it by feel, so sometimes it takes a while. There you go, it's right over here. All set. In order to use this module, you have to download the app. So I have it set up here ready. So I'm just gonna turn it on. The app is immediately gonna ask if we're gonna allow for a Bluetooth device or AI. I'm going to allow that. Now that it's on, it's going to connect. And right now, I'm going to do a health check. I did this earlier before, so that's why it comes up with the results. So I'm just gonna perform that health check. It's basically gonna come out the same, but just for demonstration purposes, that's the button you press in order to use the tool. When it's connected, you can tell down here it's flashing. So that's kind of a good indication that it's synced with your phone. Now that I got it connected, it's running the scan. So it just takes a few moments. Now it's at 100. So it shows me the issues that it's found. So once I click on this part right here, it's going to be a breakdown of those issues. And if I want to expand on each of them, I can go ahead and click on this, and then it gives me more details of those issues. And if I want to go back, I could just go back here and then open this one up here. This is the other one. Then go back to the main screen. It shows here how many inspections or scans that it went through. I could run the diagnostic again, and then here's the checks that it was performed. So everything here that's in black text is okay, with the exception of the air intake temperature sensor. In these cars, it's integrated in the MAF sensor, so that's what it's talking about. But everything else works fine. You can see it breaks down into the fuel, steering, transmission, lighting, electrical, and so forth. So it's pretty extensive when it scans the car to look for any faults or issues. And then if you want to view the issue, this is another view that I had on the other screen. And then there's also additional tools. I go down here. So that's the current condition. And then down here, this is your other settings to set up. I'm not going to do that right now. This is the page that we were on earlier. And then this one here is if you want to use a SPARQ AI. Right now, I don't want to. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And then this one here, you can schedule service on your car. And then this one is for your account profile. So overall, this tool is pretty handy. It does provide a different perspective on how my car is doing compared to the other ones. I don't think it's as advanced as something like an Autel, but it's definitely a tool that can be helpful. Now that I got the readings from my SPARQ that the problem rests in my MAF sensor, I'm going to go to the back, lift up the hood, and access the MAF sensor. My MAF sensor hasn't given me any indication that it's faulty, but I do want to conduct the test just to make sure that it's not the cause of what's causing my check engine light. I did the old school way of testing the MAF sensor by turning on my car and then removing it to observe whether or not the idle has changed. And when I did this test and removed the MAF sensor, my car shut off. So right there, I know it's not the problem. This is one of the advantages of having 3 different units to test out my 911. I know for the one from Harbor Freight and my Autel, they have similar results, whereas the SPARQ has a totally different result. But at the same time, it also holds information about my car that are beneficial for me. Moving forward, there is one thing that I want to focus on in my 911, and that's my wheels. I'm going to eventually have to take it apart because the rear driver's side wheel has been slowly leaking for years now, and I've just been putting up with it For the sake of comparison, you can see the tire in the front and the rear for the passenger side has good pressure. What I'm going to do is go to the other side so you can see the difference. This is the driver's side. The fronts are also good, but the back, I'm going to zoom in to show you. I just put air on the tire about 2 days ago. You can see that's losing some pressure. Every time I take it for a drive, I always have to check the tire pressure and make sure that it's maintaining about 36 to 38 psi. And it's got to the point where I want to address this problem. So what I plan on doing is taking out the wheels for now, putting back my stock wheels. I'm going to take it to a tire shop so I could remove the tires. I'm going to be doing all the labor as far as taking apart the rims, and then I'm going to take it to the shop because I'm going to repowder coat it. I might keep everything the way it is right now because I like to set up with a gloss black lip and the satin black faces, but I might experience with a different look. The last few episodes was mainly doing DIYs on my M5, and on today's episode, something focusing on my 911. But on the next episode, I'm getting together with the guys and we're going to be cruising over to an event here in Southern California. It's been about 2 months since we last got together and went for a drive, so we're definitely looking forward to it. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.